What's up, everybody? Welcome to Planet Pepe. I've been wanting to make a video about Woodstock for a really long time, and I didn't know how to do it. I still don't know how to do it, because what can I possibly? A, I wasn't there. B, I wasn't born yet. But so what could, and it's one of the most iconic things in our human history. So, and in American history. So how do you say something about Woodstock that hasn't been said before? But I'm gonna just give you, I guess, my quick takes on it. So, I mean, it was, first of all, it, it was such a special event, even beyond the music. It was such a special event because it could have gone so wrong. So many things, like everything was in place for this thing to be a disaster, and it all worked out. And it was like one of the most beautiful moments and iconic moments in our history. The universe, that echo, Woodstock echoed through the universe. Like if they're aliens from another planet, they literally like heard it. Again, beyond the music, and there were some oh my god, there were so many great bands that went there, but there were also a lot of great bands that didn't go for a couple different reasons. But I think the first day was folk. And I always heard this story that some, and I don't remember. I'm gonna put it in the description if I remember to do it. But there was this folk singer, this really young guy who apparently they had a lot of, okay, so they had a lot of problems getting bands and musicians to the act, like physically to the concert. But what they, so for on the first day, and it was a 3-day festival, like they kept asking him to play, and like if like he was the first performer, and then it's like, if you don't play, we're gonna have no one, and there's no music, and there's no festival. So he kept going. I think he played like the same song one or two times, and he eventually just came up with the song on the spot, him and his band. And Google it, YouTube it. It's really cool. It was some black guy. It was he was like a folk jam kind of guy. I don't remember his name off the top of my head. I'm embarrassed that I don't, but it was really cool. And you think like, oh, if someone makes up a song at Woodstock, like for the longest time when I would think that, you would think like, oh, it's because I'm trying to be creative and innovative and nuanced and like peace, man. It was literally because of like, you please don't go off stage. Like we need a musician on stage. Otherwise, there's no music because no other bands are showing up. It was such a disaster behind the scenes. So eventually, he's just like, gonna make up a song, and it was a great song. It was so cool. It was fuck. What was his name? Forget. Anyway, so the day goes on, and eventually some bands start to show up, and like day 1.5, day 2 goes, and okay, so I used to be a farmer, actually, more than once, but there was this farmer that, okay, so the town, okay, so the story is the town was super against, I don't know, is this town called Woodstock? I mean, I guess it probably is, or it might be, but the people who lived in that town were super against this concert, super against this. Like they filed petitions, like, again, like, you can't have a concert here. You can't, like, this will be destructive to our town, to our society, like, to our community. And there was this farmer in this town. I'm gonna call it Woodstock. I guess that's right, but there was this dairy farmer who owned an insane amount of land, who was apparently super conservative, but he was also this what would you call it, like this super, like this is America, like I believe in freedom, I'm gonna hold this concert on my land. And this old dairy farmer, not, I don't know if it was old people, but like he was like this 65-year-old dairy farmer or corn farmer. He had a bunch of farmland. He's like, you could put it, if these kids want to have fun, you know, put it in my on my farm, and you can have the concert here. And he actually went on stage at one point, and everyone went nuts. They were like, yes, like this is like, we're doing this on your land. And it was so cool. And you could see it on camera, on film, like where he's just kind of like, I'm just a dairy farmer, but like I just wanted to say thank you, like thanks for being here. You've proven something, not just to me, not to just the world, like, but to the world. Like you prove something to the world here, that 500,000 people from all different walks of life can get together for 3 days and become a fucking town, basically, and nothing goes wrong. And it's just, that's so cool. That's a really, like, Woodstock was a special thing. Also too, the people who were against the concert in the community, they were like super like, no, you cannot have this concert, blah blah, like there's all these things. And I get it. I mean, like, who wants to, like, I live here, like, you're just gonna throw like a festival? Okay, I get maybe why you wouldn't want to do that. Maybe you're being grumpy, but once they found out that they were super overwhelmed. When I say they, I mean like the people who organized Woodstock. They were like, genuinely, it was overwhelming. It was so overwhelming. Not in like a cool way, but in the sense of like, how do we house these people? How do we feed them? How do we medical care? Like all these things, we like the staff was so overwhelmed. And apparently, like, after day 2, they ran out of food, and people were hungry. People were like, well, what are we gonna eat? And I'm a human being. You gotta eat. Apparently, a couple things happened with this. The National Guard came through. Like, literally, the U.S. government sent helicopters to and army men, like people who were enlisted to bring them food, and they had to say on the loudspeaker, like, no, they're not here to help, they're not here to hurt us, they're here to help us, it's all good, like they're on the way, like, go America. And it was such a cool thing, like the U.S. government was in on Woodstock. What? Like, you gotta be kidding me. And not even that, apparently the people from the town also, when they heard they ran out of food and they ran out of like supplies, the people who were dead set against this concert, like, opened up their pantries and opened up their medicine cabinets, and they're like Band-Aids, peanut butter, bread, water, like whatever we need, like, what, they're human beings, we gotta help them. And they just went out in droves. These people that were so against this thing went out in droves and just were like, you know what? They're here. They're not making it. They're not causing any harm. Let's. We have to help them. We have to help them. And that is such a, like, from a human being standpoint, that is such a cool story. That's like really cool. Not only the people from the town, but the fucking the U.S. government, like the U.S. military, these like Marines were in on this to help these hippies, and it was really cool and to hear. And I think I mean, I don't know, after the third Hendrix played, he was the last. He was the last. I think he was the last performer to play at Woodstock. And at that point, a couple people, not a couple, like pretty much by day 2.5, 3, like basically the crowds were disseminating, because it's like, we all gotta go to work on Monday. So this was fun, but like, we don't live here. So, you know, it ended as all things do. And you know what? It was interesting too, because I think there was this. Okay, it could have been a complete disaster. Like Woodstock could have been. How many fights could have broken out? How many things could have gone wrong? Like a fire, a fight. You know, people like if you have 500,000 people, which I'm pretty sure is like close to the number, like 500,000 people were in this. Excuse me, in this in this at this festival, which they did not expect. It was not. They were like, oh, maybe we'll get some people here. We'll throw on a festival. Excuse me, like we'll throw on a festival. And it just like within, people started camping out, like oh my god, like the world took notice. Even my parents, who especially my dad, said like he was maybe, I don't know, 13, 14 at the time when Woodstock came and it happened. He didn't go, but he was like, yeah, we started hearing about this story, like about Woodstock, like one day, oh, there's this concert, okay, and you hear about a festival, and like then like, oh, more people are going. People literally were parking on the highway. That's not like they were like why are people abandoning their cars? Oh, they're not abandoning their cars. This is the parking lot. Oh man, that if I could have been there, if I could take it like a time travel machine, like a time machine, and go back in a couple places in history. There's a couple. Woodstock would be one of them. There's no question about it. No question about it. But Woodstock was a special. I mean, that doesn't just happen, Things really came together there. And it was beautiful, and I'm not trying to be weird or anything, but like it was beautiful. Woodstock was a special moment in American history, and it remains a special moment in American history. It's literally like they should put Woodstock in in history textbooks. Like if you're gonna make us take a quiz about the War of 1812, take a quiz about Woodstock and all the people that were there, and the history about it. And it was in New York. Thank God it was on the East Coast, because I'm from the East Coast, so God bless them. I don't really like the West Coast, but that's a whole other thing. All right, Planet Pepe, peace out. Woodstock. This is probably the longest video I've made, and no one's really watching it. No one ever watches, but no one's really been watching since this. But this is Woodstock, and again, like, what am I going to say about Woodstock that hasn't been said before? But take a moment to recognize that and what that did, because I think it showed a lot about human kindness, human dignity, human. It was about the music, but it wasn't just about the music. If anything, the music was secondary, because again, a lot of bands didn't even go. They didn't show up, or they were there and then they left. So it was really more about the fans, and the community, and just the world taking notice about a very special thing that was happening. Planet Pepe. Peace.